Hi, I'm Sam, Flying Kite, and this is week 1 of the horror show. We're still, getting used to some things, or, maybe things will still be altered going onward. But, this will be the horror show. And I will be doing Insidious Chapter 2. Because, as I said last one, I want to try to go about franchises, and Insidious has 5 movies. So lucky me, I have 4 of them right here. This is going to be at least for the next 3, because I have the very last one as its own thing. Plus, it's not even a part of this. It's PG-13. It came out in 2013, so it came out 3 years after Insidious, and around the same time The Conjuring came out. This movie, the first one was more like a haunted house movie. The second one is more of a thriller, or maybe even a little psychological thriller. I guess I'll just give you the synopsis quick. The Lamberts believe that they have defeated the spirits that have haunted their family, but they soon discover that evil is not beaten so easily. It's directed by James Wan. He came back. He did the first one, and I don't think he necessarily wanted to come back, but if he did, it would have been specifically for this, so that continuity would, so that there would be continuity, not, he didn't want to be like, I created this thing, and now Insidious Chapter 2, and it's like something completely different, and it feels completely off, and now, like, I hate it forever. And don't mind me, I'm a little sick right now, so if I sneeze any point, it's gonna look like I'm crying. And I'm crying because this movie was so good. It made a grown man such as myself cry. No, but it's just I'm starting to notice it in the camera a bit. Oh, I hate it. Because I don't want to sneeze, but it's happening, and every time I'm gonna sneeze, it's gonna just start making me cry. Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Lin Shaye, Ty Simpkins, and like all the other characters and actors and actresses in this movie are all brought back to play those respected characters. So Patrick Wilson comes back to play Josh, which is the father of the family. Rose Byrne comes back as Renee, the mom. Lin Shaye comes back as Elise, the psychic who died at the very end of the first one. Well, I mean, you're here watching me talk about Insidious 2, so you should already know that, assuming you went and watched the movie, of course. Sorry if that's a spoiler for you. And then Ty Simpkins, who plays the main child, or the main boy, because they technically have like 3 children, but he plays the main boy. I really like this movie. Do I like it better than the first one? A couple of aspects, yeah, but I think overall, no. I think especially the ending. I don't really necessarily like this ending, but I can respect it as, like, it's a good ending, or at least it's a fine ending. We'll talk about it, though, when I get there. IMDb, out of almost 200,000 votes, gave it a 6.6 out of 10. So let's begin with my process. I gave the story an 8 out of 10. Just simply put, a little recap. When Josh in the first movie goes into the further to get Dalton, he's able to come back. Or does he? You see that actually, no, he doesn't come back. The ghost that haunted his childhood actually comes back. And now possesses Josh. Although it's the beginning of the movie tries to make it, he tries to play that off and be like, actually, see, he didn't, because of a few X's, Y's, and Z's. So you're just crazy for thinking that kind of thing. But then you start watching and you start like, actually, yeah, he is possessed. He's possessed by the ghost. And actually you learn a little bit more about the ghost, that being the ghost. It's funny, it's like the ghost looks like a bride, or like an old old lady in a black dress kind of thing. Not necessarily a bride, but an old lady in a black dress. But you come to actually find out that that's actually the ghost of a man who had a really traumatic childhood and to a degree was emotionally abused by his mom, who kind of forced him to be a lady, a girl instead. So I kind of found that really interesting because of, well, I'm not going to go too far into it, but I found it really interesting. So it kind of gives more like, oh, I kind of feel bad for the ghost, but, still, bad. Still kind of evil. A little kind of like Friday the 13th-ish because, Jason's like, killing for his mom. It's kind of similar kind of thing. The ghost is, if the ghost kills people, it's not because the ghost wants to, it's because the mom wants to, which is like weird. But then again, hey, it's a ghost movie. Anything can happen. I like how the longer the ghost possesses Josh for, the more deteriorated Josh's body becomes. And it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be like, hey, that's not Josh, and that's why, because he's not even in there. And you see him rotting away, and it's not really pretty, if I had to say anyway. The music's a 7 out of 10 for me. It's about the same kind of style as the first movie, which isn't terrible. Well, I mean, I give it a 7 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's pretty good. But I guess it's only really good because of the kind of movie this is. It's fitting, but like, you wouldn't catch this kind of music in a zombie movie, I don't think. You wouldn't really catch it in like a classics, well, maybe like a slasher movie, but like, it's really fitting for what this is trying to be. Which is some peaceful kind of music, but then also the loud, violin-y kind of music. I give the moral a 6. I actually was gonna give it a little worse, mainly because of the ending. But it's just gonna be 6. My main thought being, there is a good, there is an evil, but it also kind of ties into the ending. I just leave it, but ... Cheese is a 1 out of 10. I don't really think there's many cheesy, cringe moments in there unless you're unless you're digging. I'm sure if you're digging, you could find something, but anyway. Gold, I think 8 out of 10. Because I think there's a lot of really nice, good moments in this movie. Like the piano scene where they start hearing the piano and Josh is like, Renee, I'm gonna find whoever that was. And then you look at the piano, and then it cuts into the further, in which you see Josh, like actual Josh, on the piano in the further, and you see that it was him actually playing it. Or even the ending, where or near the ending, the ending. I would say Insidious always finds iconic moments or really good moments, really good shots or scenes, but it's not like some like gothic kind of thing. I think it turns into jump scares. The jump scares are really like, I remember that one kind of thing. I guess that kind of sucks a bit. Maybe it should have been a little lower, honestly, but I gave it an 8. I think it's fine. It's well. The jump scares or the odd kind of moments are like, hey, it's pretty good. Humanity, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because it's very similar in the sense of how do you defeat something that just seems so hopelessly. There's just no way to beat it. There's no solution, kind of thing, where you don't know how to beat it. Because I'm sure if you were dealing with something that you couldn't beat and you never could find out how to beat it, you would be really demoralized and really nihilistic about your chances or odds of beating it. And then it's just the big idea of, at least when you watch Renee, it's like she's gone through a lot and it's just not ending. It's not stopping. is how do you stop it? In which case, the ending for me is a 7 out of 10. I think I gave the first one like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because I really liked the ending of the first movie. I guess I gave it a 9 out of 10. The ending in the first movie, I really liked it in the first one. But in the second one, the ending is Josh. So there's Josh, and then there's Josh. Josh is trying to kill his family because it's the ghost that's that's controlling the body, and the ghost is trying to kill the family. And in the further, Josh and Elise and this other guy who's a character that's in this movie fight or try to defeat the mom, the mother of the ghost, the memory. I guess that's what they called it. And they're able to defeat it, and while it's defeating him, the ghost in Josh's body is starting to is freaking out. And then when they defeat the mother's memory, then the ghost also gets defeated too. And then Josh is able to come back to his body, and boom, he's back. And how do you never go through that again? You just get hypnotized and forget all about it. So that's what they do. Josh and Dalton, their memory is wiped of the events of the first and second, and I guess Josh's childhood too. And that's how they solve the problem at the very end, which is really? I'm sorry, but really? I mean, it's a 7 out of 10. It's a fine ending because of the fifth movie. If the fifth movie never came out, this would be if I reviewed this movie 4 years ago, it's probably a little bit worse than I probably ultimately have it, which isn't some great thing either. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's a little cheap, in my opinion, that when Josh is a kid, a younger Elise thinks the best option is to make Josh completely forget about the further. And then in the second movie, how they resolve the situation, they just make Josh and Dalton completely forget about it. And I'm I don't know. I kind of don't like it, honestly, but as I said, since they made the fifth movie, I have to wait. That will be the last one I do of the Insidious movies, anyway. Because I guess my thought is, that's basically telling you that, if you had a memory and it was really good but it ended badly, that your best course of option is to just completely forget about it and never remember it, because what would that do you any good? Or how would that do you any good? And I would say that you go through something bad, there's a reason. So that it makes you stronger. And you going and trying to just completely forget about it is kind of oh, now you're just kind of you're not, I guess it's not you're not learning anything from it, because it's like Nikolai in a Call of Duty Zombies. If you have ever paid attention to that storyline, he lost his wife in the war, and now he's an alcoholic, and it's just really bad. But that's oh, well, something really bad happened and he's trying to forget about her. But it's how can you? Unless you just, I don't know. I personally just don't think it's a really good way of moving on. Because those memories will come back. It's just how, and will it be worse? So ultimately, I had this movie, after all the math, of course, which isn't really crazy math, it's just, whatever. I gave it a 6.6 out of 10. So me and IMDb are exactly the same on how we view this movie, which is kind of funny. And I guess some last thoughts is the ending was kind of silly. like the very ending, like if it was a post-credit scene, although it wasn't, it was like the very last shot kind of thing in the movie. There's Ghost Elise, and she's with the Tucker and Specs, right? Tucker, I think it's Tucker. Yeah, Tucker and Specs, who's the paranormal team that, you know, works with her, or worked with her. And they're at this house, and they're saying, you know, they're gonna help out this new family, and Elise is like, I see this monster demon thingy, and you start hearing the same kinds of things you would hear with the lipstick demon, and you either see it or you only hear it, but you see her, and she's like, and then like the third movie is just not talking about it, except for the very end of the third movie, which is like, we'll get to that next week. Anyway, I'm Sam, Flying Kite. This is the sick edition of the horror show, and for week 1 I did Insidious chapter 2. And I guess that's gonna be it. I hope y'all have a happy new year, because this will be coming out on the 1st of January. So I hope that y'all have a wonderful new year, that the resolutions that you aim for will be successful, and that you vanquish and conquer and obtain all the wishes of your heart, except, you know, unless it's something bad or not really good for you, of course. Then, you know, good luck, I guess. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye.